that ylm is eigenfunction of m square and mx and my and mz. It is not going to happen, right? You have to test for all of them. That's what I tried to explain many times. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Thank
well,
you, sir.
let me once again tell you the meaning. The lot of people confuse commutation. Let me remind you once again. Suppose I have a function psi, okay, and I have two operators, okay. Suppose these two operators satisfy an eigenvalue equation with psi. Okay. So the meaning of simultaneous eigenfunction is that, so of course A psi is equal to say A psi, you will write, and then you will write B psi is equal to B psi. But this is just what you see from your eyes, but there is a very important subtlety. What is that subtlety is that, I explained in the beginning class, and I took an example of the free particle wave function. What it means, so if A, B is equal to 0, means commute with each other, what does it actually mean? Of course, you say that it means there is a simultaneous set of eigenfunctions. That is only the very rudimentary way of understanding.
One common set out of the many eigensets.
So yeah, that's the most important part you need to realize. So if psi, I give a function called, say, suppose phi, okay? That means it is a set. And then for B, so I can have, sorry, for this guy I say call, let us say, you may have more than eigenset, say, let us call chi, okay? And this guy, say suppose phi, and then this guy say suppose theta, okay? It doesn't make good sense, but let us see. So what I mean is that this eigenvalue equation is satisfied, say, by more than two sets of eigenfunctions. So this is a set, all the time set, right? So why did I do this? Because I want to show you that there is, see, equation can be satisfied by these two. Say for example, just for discussion, these can be satisfied by these guys, okay? It can have simultaneous eigensets of more than one operators, more than one sets of functions. So what is important to realize is that if it is simultaneous eigenfunction, then there has to be a set phi I which is sitting on both sides, but includes all the functions in that set, not just इसका 3, इसका 2, ऐसा नहीं होगा. So इस set का सब function इसका भी eigen function होना चाहिए, but it doesn't mean that all the sets of this function will also be eigen function of all the sets of B. That is not necessary. Is that clear? So you may have more than one set, you may not have more than set. Even if it is not phi, they are simultaneous eigenfunction. If you have more than other sets, then also it is fine, because you have phi I which is common in both A and B. Okay? Okay. Any more question? Okay. So I think we just reached to the point of finding out something very interesting. So let us begin. I think these equations are still there for me. So what is this? M plus a minus k y is equal to, we have given a short name for yk, and b plus a minus k h cross is equal to bk. And we can start from this portion. Let us say, so mz, I have found out that mz, we can begin with this k, mz yk. That means mz, m plus a minus k y is equal to bk yk. We start from here today. Bk psi k, sorry, yk. And m square, and where bk is given by this, and m square yk is equal to cyk. This is what we did that, right? And then we operated mg on mg. So if I operate mg on this guy, mg square yk is equal to what will happen? Bk square yk, right? Okay? So, and that bk square you can write, so m square, so if I do that, m square minus mg square, after operating mg on this, m square minus mg square yk to c minus bk square yk. ठीक है? But then I said that my m square is equal to mx square plus my square plus mg square. So m square minus mg square is equal to m square plus mx square plus my square. And we argued that these guys have to be positive. So I said that c minus bk square must be greater than equal to 0. And that gave me a condition root over c bk where my k is equal to 0, 1, 2, etc., etc. Now, what does it mean? What does it mean? That means my C, my BK is bounded. There is a reason BK has to fall in that region, minus root over C to plus root over C. Okay. So the question is, so I have slowly found out, remember my job, what was my objective? My objective was to find out these equations m square y and mz y is equal to this. I think we wrote C, P, and this is we wrote B. Okay, let us not K, right? So our job was to find out the conditions between B and C which must be satisfied. All the conditions, everything that can be there. Okay, so including what is B, what is C, how are they commit, so what kind of quantum conditions they satisfy, that's called. So we got the first clue that BK has to fall into this region. Okay, that's a clue. So let us now see, and C of course is a constant, and that's it. So now I want to find out what is that little bit more precise, B is minus root C to plus C, that is fine, but we need more clues. Okay, so in order to do that, so let us see that, so MZ, so that means if B falls from minus root C to plus C, that means there is a maximum and minimum values of B. Okay, because you already see that BK is nothing but B plus a minus KH cross, right? So there is a maximum and minimum that has to happen because B is lying in between minus root C and plus root C. So if that is the case, that means my Y has to have something like Y max. So I can write mg Y max is equal to B max Y max and mg Y mean is equal to B mean Y mean. Sorry. Right? So I can write that. So, the beauty of ladder operator methods is that you will see that when we'll have some more discussions on ladder operators, and you probably have read something on harmonic oscillator. So you see that it is only the commutation relations of ladder operators which make so much of miracles for us. So every time you have a situation like that, so I can do that something like m plus. So can you please work it out what will happen if I operate m plus on this equation? Just quick 30 seconds. I'll write it, but you will try to do that. M plus mg y max is equal to B m plus B max Y max, right? So what happens to m plus mg? Can you please work it out? M plus mg is what? We have the commutation. M plus mg is equal to mg m plus, we in the beginning we did that, minus h cross m plus. Okay. Y max is equal to B max. B is a constant, you can take it. So m plus Y max. I can write that. I hope all of you have written that. So just rearrange this equation. So you can do that to write eventually. So mz m plus y max is equal to b max plus h cross m plus y max. I can write an equivalent expression for y mean. That means m minus y max was there, okay? I could write b mean y mean, okay? And in that case, I could operate with m minus, okay? M minus I could operate, and so that means your mg y mean was there. I could operate with m minus, okay? And similarly in the right side to get equivalent expressions. So we are doing just one of them, okay? So let us see. What this guy is telling us? So it says that m plus y max is an eigenfunction of mg operator. M plus y max is an eigenfunction of mg operator with the eigenvalue b max plus h cross. Right? B max plus h cross. But the problem is that I have already said that b max is the maximum value that can be there. Right? So b max plus h cross doesn't make any sense for me. Okay. So what do we say? So the only way to satisfy is that, so I say that m plus y max has to be 0. Because there is nothing called b max h plus h cross in this problem. Right? So, and then again, I can operate with m minus. What will happen? This I ask you to do, m minus m plus. So please do, everybody. 30 seconds. Kitab dekhte hi karo. But do it in your own, okay? M minus m plus, if I do that, what is my way of approach? How do I approach this? Kumar Ajendra. Kumar is there? Kumar? Okay. Advait Kulkarni? Advait, are you there?
Yes, sir.
बोलो कैसे कर रहा है? M minus M plus Y max. क्या करेंगे आप?
Act M plus first, as it is there.
Can you do that? Y max. So that means you are saying that I will operate M plus on Y max. Is that what you are saying?
But it is 0, so I'm thinking once.
Thinking, okay. Who else is working? Everybody is thinking. Adrija. Adrija? Can you answer? Yes? Adrija, I think she is not there. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Bolo?
Yeah, actually, I was speaking. I think you couldn't hear.
Okay, so now you tell me, okay.
Yeah, so I think M plus Y max is B max plus H cross Y max. Then if we act M minus on it again, so it will be B max Y max, right?
Is it so simple? You made it so simple. You know, I think today we have finished 7th or 8th lecture. I do not know. Maybe 9. I do not know. Just at least more than 6. And I see the number of people have already become 26. Okay. So this generally happens after 30 or 35 lectures. It starts with all the time full. And then after 2, 3, 4, 5, every day some people vanish, you know, and they never show up. It's not that it bothers me, but it tell you, those of you who are, I understand there is a network problem, but please, you know, if you are not coming to the class, at least do it in your home. Okay, there are certain things that you need to do. It's not a PowerPoint presentation class. Quantum mechanics is a hard work, you know. Okay, otherwise everything looks very simple, and then when you finish your class, then you say that, "Arey quantum mechanics kya karna hai, chodo, uska kya zarurat hai?" Right? But let me remind you, because all of you are chemistry student, so you do not become a generation who will say that quantum mechanics, you will then stop believing in spectroscopy. अरे स्टेट क्या है, लेवल क्या है, D2 D5 पे तो सब कुछ हो जाता है. ठीक है, don't become people like this. Okay, so okay, m minus m plus, if you do m plus into I max, then why should I operate with m minus? You should have thought, Adrija, right? So there must be some motive. M minus m plus, I want to do it because, see, okay, I think there is a, you know, when you do some problems, I do not know how many of you did. So generally in mathematics problems, you should try to solve a problem more than one ways. That's what we did it. Not all of them will work, but some of them will work. So you will have a conclusion which one is good, which one is not good, which one to be handled with care, that kind of conclusion. So in the whole exercise of this angular momentum algebra is that, okay, let me tell you a secret. You should have found out, but I thought nobody is going to write it, so you must understand that. So every time you have a problem like that with m plus, m minus, s plus, s minus, s square, what you want to do every time is that you want to bring everything in terms of the m square and mg operators. Because why? Because you started with those expressions. You remember, you started with what is written in the extreme back, right? M square y is equal to cy, mg y is equal to by. There is nothing else in this world is known to you other than the commutation relations, right? So every time we are doing some manipulation, just because you want to bring everything in terms of m square, mg, mx, my operators. That's it. Abhi clear hai, Adrija? Or she has vanished?
No.
Okay. So you understand. So now I told you that m minus m plus we have written because it is possible to write m minus m plus in terms of m square, mx, my, mg operators. You understand? And that is possible because the very first day we wrote the commutator relations between m plus m minus. Remember, we started with m plus m minus and m minus m plus products. अभी वही एक्सप्रेशन हमको यहाँ पे लगाना है. Is that clear?
Yes.
So, okay, please, thank you. So m square, so m minus m plus is actually your m square, because you see why I want to do, because these are eigenvalue equations. So if I know that somebody is eigenvalue, some operator is satisfying eigenvalue equations, is not it natural that I would like to bring them? यही तो कारण है, right? So I want, because m plus m minus is not satisfying eigenvalue equations. Don't forget it. They are not satisfying eigenvalue equations because they are not observables. That we'll discuss at the end. So m minus m plus is actually your, we wrote it in the beginning. So m square minus mg square minus h cross mg. You see that? Why we did this? Because you have your m square operating on, you know the answer. Mg operating on, you know the answer. Mg operating on this, you know the answer. That is why we want to. Okay. So y max is equal to 0. Okay. So now what do I see? So m square y max. What will happen? What will happen when m square operates with y max? M square y? Advija, what will be the answer? M square operating on y max?
It's cy
Cy
max.
Cy max. Fantastic. What will be mg square operating on y max? Mg square
It will
operating
be b square y max.
b square. Okay, b square y max, b max square,
B
okay?
max square y max. Yeah.
And then what is this guy? H
That
cross?
will be minus H cross B max Y max.
Very good, thank you. So I can write c square, no, m square is c, no, sorry, c minus I need to give something like this, c minus b max square minus h cross b max y max is equal to 0. Okay. So what it means? That means the c minus b max square minus h cross b max is equal to 0. Okay. So that means c is equal to, so I can write c is equal to b max square plus h cross b max. Now you are clever to understand that I should have also started that there was another equation in terms of y mean. Okay, so m minus y mean is equal to 0, which I wrote. Then you should operate that with again mg. M square के साथ करने से कोई फायदा नहीं है, because m square commutes with m plus m minus. You will not get anything, right? So you operate with mg, and then again you write mg minus is equal to what in terms of mg plus operator, sorry, commutator, and then again you will come up with something, right? So that will eventually give somebody can say what will be the equivalent expression for b mean, which I am not working out. Let us see if somebody can say. Whom should I? Rohit? What should be the equivalent expression for y mean? Somili, Pani? BK2, what is BK2? Some, okay. So Somili is there, not there. Tahiti?
Yes, sir.
Bolo kya hoga? Can you say?
Yes, sir. It will be like that only. We are going to commute m plus m minus y mean with
So,
that.
yeah, what will be eventually here? What should I write here?
Sir, I am doing it. I
Oh,
little.
you are doing it? Okay. So please do.
So
And
b mean square minus h cross b mean,
C bolo, C is equal to
b mean whole square
B mean square
minus h cross b mean.
minus BH cross minus BH cross B mean. That's good. Thank you. Who is it? Rohit. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I hope you got it, Tahiti. Okay. So I got two expressions. Okay. Now then what? Remember, never forget never miss the wood for the trees. Okay. There is a big possibility in quantum mechanics to get lost in mathematics and forget about physics and chemistry. So every time we have to be in control, just like this, the instrument, Indian classical music, if you listen to this vocalists or instrumentalists, they are playing like anything. But the tablis has to always tell that, okay, no, this is not the right speed. You must slow down. You must go fast, all kinds of stuff. So we must understand what is going on, all this stuff. So I wanted to find out the relation between B and C and what are the quantum conditions. But I have assumed that mz and m square are y is simultaneously eigenfunctions are m square and mg. So there is no problem with that. So I am looking for B and C. And now I have written everything in terms of BSC. Remember, until this point, we have never said anything about any system. You see that? Before, all the time we had a problem, we had a system. Like for example, a particle in a box, a particle in an impenetrable box, particle in a finite box, a particle in a ring, particle in a sphere, hydrogen atom, all kinds of stuff. What did I say? Did we say any system in this case? We did not say any system. Did we write any Schrodinger equation? We did not write any Schrodinger equation. Did we solve any Schrodinger equation? We did not solve any Schrodinger equation except assuming this much. right? So nothing has been assumed. Absolutely general for anywhere you have an angular momentum, right? So we'll talk more about it later. So let us see what I mean by that. So that means I can equate these two guys. So if I do that, so I can write this B max, please do the rearrangement, B max plus B min into B max minus B min plus H cross. I can write this after some manipulation. What does it tell me? So that means I have a situation where B max is equal to going to be minus B min. Okay, and or I can write B max is equal to B min minus H cross, or I can write that B min is equal to B max plus H cross. These are the two ways I can write this, right? But that is ridiculous because this says that the maximum value of B is actually less than the minimum value of B. You see that? And another way to write is that the minimum value of B is actually the maximum value के साथ भी H cross add, right? So in either case, it is not acceptable to me. Okay, so what I can do, I can just write B max is equal to minus B min. Okay, this I can write. But I look at this expression now. What do I see? There is a very interesting relation. You can see that. So B max and B max. So B's are, remember the values of K is 0, 1, 2, that kind of stuff. So that means one value to another value of B, okay, BK is going in units of KH cross. Okay? BK is going in units of KH cross. So my B max and B min are also one of the B's of the BKs, right? So if that is so, that means I can safely write B max minus B min is equal to, I want to write NH cross. I can write that, where N is a value which I do not know. It may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it doesn't matter. I can write that. Two be different values of B, okay? They will be always be connected like this. So I can write that B max is equal to minus B min is equal to NH cross. So what do I see? So I see that B min is equal to minus N over 2 H cross. So N is right. So this I want to write as JH cross. Then what is J? J takes values. What should be my J? Somebody? Nasim, what is my J in this form? Okay. Mona Lisa, what is my J?
Yes, sir.
What is my J? How do I write J?
The J
What?
can be, we can take J values from 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4.
0 to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you 0? Then why should I write? Why should I write J and not N? Don't you see that if I have N, which I just wrote, N is equal to integer, right? That means what? This is half, this is 0, this is 1, this is 3 by 2, this is 2, this is so integral and half integral. B min is given by, this is the most critical understanding of this whole exercise. That's why I am asking you this question. Make sure that you understand this, because this has very serious implications for our life. So this is where I see that my B man, which are like this, one of these values. B man is nothing but one of these BKs. Same way with BX, B max. It doesn't matter. So this is given by an expression like that, which actually has half integral values. You see that n is integer. So that means what? 0, half, 1, 1 by 2, sorry, 3 by 2, 2, all kinds of values, right? But then I want to replace n by 2 by another index, but then this j has to allow 0, not only 0, 1, 2, but it also has to allow half integral values.
Yes.
You see that? It has to allow half integral values. Okay, thank you. Right? So if this is my B max, B min, what is my B max? What is my B max? B max is nothing but minus B min. Right? B max is nothing but minus B min. So B max is equal to n by 2 h cross, which is actually j h cross. Okay, so this should be minus, sorry. This is j h cross, but j is the same. Right? So if I have found out B max and B min, that means you remember that what was the B maximum values and minimum values? We actually found out the maximum and minimum values. Let us finish the complete exercise, then we'll talk. So what is C? What is C? C, I can take one of these expressions. C is equal to B max square, as we found out, plus h cross B max. Okay, so that means what? J square h cross square plus h cross j h cross. Okay, so that means j into j plus 1 h cross square. Right? So I got the values of B and C with the index j. Okay, j into j plus 1 h cross square. So that means my C is equal to this. So let us write that. So I found out that m square y is equal to C, right? C is j into j plus 1 h cross square, and mz y is equal to j h cross j y, sorry, y, h cross j y, and then I want to write j is equal to 0, half, 1, 3 by 2, 2, etc., etc. And then one more thing before I write. So I can see that my j, my B was actually in this minus j h cross, minus j plus 1 h cross, minus j plus 2 h cross, etc., 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 up to j minus 2 h cross, j minus 1 h cross, and j h cross. So you can see that minus j h cross to plus j h cross. Okay, and so, and this is the whole picture. What is important is not this. Of course, these are the most important stuff, but what you should take seriously is that what actually it means. What is the meaning of all this stuff? That is what we are going to discuss now. Okay, of course. So I can retain only these two equations. And so you see that what we derived in the previous class, remember it was written. Let us understand the meaning of this. You should not underestimate the meaning of equations. That's why we derived in the full 1 and 2 lectures. So this is what we actually derived from a particle in a sphere, right? And we saw that y LML theta phi is an eigenfunction. y LML theta phi is an eigenfunction of the L square and LG operator. Okay? So that was right. But then we wanted to see if there is, and I also told you that this expression will also be valid for every atom or every spherical potential where you have a central force field. That means potential is not dependent on theta phi. And then I changed the name to, so whatever we derived from there, remember we had to derive a differential equation, which we did not derive, we just took the help of the mathematical books, okay? But here, without writing any Schrodinger equation, you actually derived it. That's the beauty of ladder operator methods. That's why it is so elegant, right? So, but now the question is that what is the meaning of, now we want to attach the meaning to each of these symbols. What exactly M is, I have said, but we need to give little more elaboration to each of these 7 symbols. So for example, what is M? What is Y? What is J? What is H cross is known to everybody. What is MG? What is JH cross? Right? So we need to understand each of these stuff. So let us talk M. What is M now? We have said that M represents an angular momentum operator. What does it mean? For a real system, what it means? Suppose I do at the hydrogen atom or helium atom or any other transition metal atom. What is my M? Who can answer? Because it is the meaning, significance of these symbols which is most important for us. So I want to have some discussion on this. Who can, lot of discussion can be there. So somebody please say, what is my M? If I want to work with titanium atom, for example, I know many of you will be interested in transition metal chemistry or etc. So what is my M in the titanium atom? Mona Lisa, can you answer? अभी तो सब हमने पढ़ लिया, तो अभी इसका थोड़ा केमिस्ट्री करते हैं, ठीक है? So what is the answer? So Sarvagya, can you answer? Start.
Yes, sir.
Bolo, how is this M related to my titanium atom? Because these are not just mathematical stuff. This is a quantum chemistry class, and they are there. So who can say? It is open to class. If you want to write in the chat box, please write. Okay, so you please write because I cannot wait for the class. तुम लोग को भी lunch करना है. So the thing is that it represents the angular momentum of one electron. It can represent so many things. That is why this question is important. It can represent so many things in the titanium atom. एक एक करके देखते हैं. You have so many electrons in titanium atom. How many electrons? I remember it is a titanium 3 plus is a D1 system, right? So how many electrons are there in titanium? Maybe forget titanium. Say, let us say nitrogen. Nitrogen has 7 electrons. Okay? So what does it mean? What is the meaning of M and Mg? First, let us understand this. What do they represent in a given atom? It can represent, M can represent the orbital angular momentum operator L or the spin angular momentum operator for one electron. All the electrons are indistinguishable in the nitrogen atom. Okay? So you can say that they can represent, M can represent the electronic orbital angular momentum operators and spin angular momentum operators. That means what? The moment you say, it actually means so many operators, all the L square operators. Right? Or, so it can mean all this. So it is not that L comma S. It can mean all the sets. So LX, M, so Mg, Mx, we write it Mg, Mx, can, so it is a pair, we can. So L means all the 4 sets. So that means wherever you wrote wherever you wrote M in this exercise, you can just simply replace by L. It will give you the same result. ठीक है? With some changes here that we'll discuss. It can also represent the S operator for one electron. That means what? You can write wherever you wrote M and mg and s m square, etc. You just replace all the m's by capital S. That means spin angular momentum. They will also satisfy these expressions. Okay? But there is much more. You can actually, you know that when we go to the more than one electron, I have to learn how to add the two angular momentums, the orbital angular momentum and the spin angular momentum, right? And that is what you have used the esoteric term called spin orbit coupling. Wherever somebody asked you some question, oh, why is it happening? You said that I do not know, but I can think that it is coming from orbital. What is that called? Spin orbit coupling. What exactly is that? So that is a coupling of the L and S operators in simple terms. Okay? So it can also represent the J. What is J? J is actually a vector addition of L and S operators. So that means you take the orbital angular momentum operator and the spin angular momentum operators and you do their vector sum. That will give you a whole set of operators. So this gives me L square, Sx, Sy, Sg. And this gives me another set of operator, J square, Jx, Jy, Jg. So that means wherever you wrote M, you can simply replace by capital J. J square, Jx, Jy, Jg. You will still have the same kind of equations. Only thing that will change is that these values that we'll discuss, right? But every time also you have, so operator to change ho gaya. What about the eigenfunction? Is it going to remain the same? Suppose I work with Lx, Ly, Lg, right? It is natural. The first case is actually done here. So in that case, if you take your M to be L, so if you take your M operators to be your L operators, then your Y is actually Y LML theta. Hi. Is that clear? Now the question is that if I take my M to be S, what is my eigenfunction? ये तो बोलने में बड़ा आसान लगता है कि चलो यही वैल्यू हो जाएंगे. But what will happen to the eigen function? Anybody knows the answer? Anybody who can say something? I'll give you 2 marks. Okay? So, but at least you should realize that this eigenfunction y LML theta phi is not going to be same. It is satisfying a similar kind of eigenvalue equation. That doesn't mean that the eigenfunctions are same. So it has to be something different. What is the difference? That we do not know. We will discuss in the class later. But it is not definitely y LML theta phi. Because why am I not discussing? Because I need to discuss y LML theta phi jo hai. So similarly, if I write it for SMS, I need to write what I'm going to be here. That is not theta phi. There is something else. So we'll discuss when the spin comes into our picture. Okay, so this was all for one electron. But in the nitrogen atom, I have so many electrons. Right? I have so many electrons. I have 7 electrons. Remember? So I need to learn how to add the angular momentum of more than 1 electrons. That means how the angular momentum of orbital angular momentum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 electrons can be added. How the angular moment, spin momentum of 7 electrons can be added. Right? So let that be a big L. That means big L for all the electrons. And let there be a big S for all the electrons, not for all, not for one. So it is for the whole atom, 7 electron. After doing some exercise of L1, L2, L3 up to L7, I got this kind of stuff. Similarly, S1, S2 of all the 7 electrons, I got something like this. Right? So this L and S, I can replace all my M's and M square by this big L also. I can replace this Mx, My by this big S also. Just like you have a capital J for one electron, similarly you also have a big J for the whole atom. Another angular momentum, right? So I can replace the m square and mx etc. by this capital J also. Then also it will be satisfied, right? Of course, these quantum conditions will be different. That we'll see little bit, but it will be very similar equation. But not to forget, an atom is not only electrons. There are also protons and neutrons, right? So these the protons also have, the nuclei also have angular momentum. So you can actually do the these angular momentum operators by the nuclei also. Then also these equations will be satisfied. So in a sense, that is why I keep on telling you, these are extremely general. So everywhere there is an angular momentum, you can just use these expressions. In the next class, we'll tell you how these differences will be coming into picture. We just discussed m square and mg. We did not discuss these three things. Y, J, J, H cross. The eigenvalues, that means B and C. So we need, in the next class, we'll discuss what will happen to B, what will happen to C, what will happen to Y if we do from L to S to J. It is not a very big thing, but you need to understand the difference. So until this point, this is absolutely general. Anybody has any question? Okay, any question, comments?
Sir,
Bolo?
sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear. Yes, here.
Sir, here as we talked about, sir, m square and mz. So m square is the addition of all the angular momentums in x, means mx, my, and mz. And mz is only the particular direction, means the z axis, means the momentum in the z direction. Sir, so can you tell how these two could be similar, means how the set of m square and mz could be similar? Because sir, I just literally can't add mz with m square, right? So because it also contains lx and mx and my operators as well along with mz. So
you are saying that how can I equate this m operator with the spin operators?
So rather than that mz operators, so that I know that we can commute those things.
MZ operator, if you work with the L angular momentum operators, so your m square, mx, my, mg can be replaced by L square, Lx, Ly, Lg. Is there a question on this?
Yes, sir. Then how I can operate with only Lz, because I also have Lx and Ly in my m square, right? So sir, if I
but did not anybody derive these commutator relations between m square?
Yes, that would be 0. Yes, that would be 0. Lx, Lz, yes.
It will be the same thing. Okay, so maybe if you have some question, remember, okay, maybe I should have told, I think I told, but in case I did not, remember whatever commutator relations that you have read with your L square, Lx, Ly, Lg are also exactly applicable to your S square, Sx, Sy, Sg operator. They're exactly, not today's exercise, the simple angular momentum commutation relations of L square, Lx, Ly, Lg are directly applicable to your spin operators, directly applicable to your J operators. The reason I can do this little stuff very easily to tell you that these are applicable to all these operators, because they have actually similar commutation relations. So today's class's conclusion is that these equations will be absolutely applicable to any operator set where you have a commutation relation which is satisfied by the L square, Lx, Ly, G. That kind of commutation relation जहाँ पे भी होगा तुम वहाँ पे ही ये सब लिख सकते हो. That is the conclusion. Nothing special about Lx, Ly, Lg, right? Wherever you encounter, so in maybe in next 5 years, another some quantum mechanics new thing will come out. So every time you encounter these commutator relations like L square, Lx, Ly, Lg, you can be sure that there is something. In fact, in the next class, we'll take this issue. This was actually used. This was used as a guiding principle to find out that there is something called spin, which I did not tell you, but we'll tell you in the next class. That is why I have not said too much about J and MJ. Remember, I have only said M square and MJ. So there is a big story going on between J cross H, J cross and Y. So that we'll take it in the next class. How it helps us to tell certain things, especially the spin. Okay? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. What else? Okay. Anybody else has anything? No? So then just we call it a day. Okay? So bye-bye.